Welcome to our Tuesday, June 17 homeschool day.
We are working on our last week of homeschool. Kind of exciting. I know I'm not going to get everything done, which means that whatever we don't do, we carry over to the fall, which we're actually starting our school year a little bit earlier this year. It's probably going to be our last school year. Oh my goodness. Anyway, this is the work that we worked on yesterday. I haven't delivered this lesson, but I want to share with you what we did. Actually, I don't even think we got to this lesson. This now has become a place for me to prep our lessons. And this is something that for our Waldorf way of homeschooling, we usually present lessons. A lot of times, this takes a lot of preparation and a lot of just getting the lesson together. And I'm using these books by Live Education as our curriculum. And in this curriculum, these aren't lessons that you read aloud to children. This isn't a book that you give to children. This is a teacher resource. Often, I don't have time to prepare a lesson this way. It takes a lot of time. You have to process the information, digest it, really comprehend it well enough to deliver the lesson. Over the years, we've done a mix of these kinds of lessons mixed with using living books, so a Charlotte Mason approach of reading aloud from different living books. And that's just the way that we've done it over the years. Now that I'm homeschooling my last child, I have more time to prepare lessons like this, and it is phenomenal. I love it so much. It takes so much time. If you have the time to do this and you have multiple children, I am in awe of how you're doing this and so much admiration for that. I was never able to do that with all of my kids consistently over the years, but now I feel like I can, and it is transforming the way that we deliver the lessons. For me, I don't know that my daughter has a different impression of the lessons. I know that the way that I feel the energy and the way that I am understanding and presenting the lessons is different than reading them from our resources, which has been great. It has served us really well. I'm just excited to be able to do it this way at the moment. So what I end up doing is that I will read the information, and then sometimes I use other resources, and then I will write it up. And I need to find a different, better way in the future, because what ends up happening is I need more space to write up my thoughts once I'm done processing it and all the things that I want to present. So this has not been like the best way to do this. I think I need to find a different way, especially with this particular notebook, which is the Astronomy main lesson book. It has these beautiful blue pages and then white pages for the writing. It's smaller than a regular main lesson book, and so I end up with not enough space. This is what I did yesterday, because the lesson that's on the tilt and the 4 seasons, this one's not done. I still need one more page for this one. And then I've included another 4 pages on each of the seasons just for that one lesson. So this is what ends up happening for me, is that I end up getting excited about the material and getting more information to help me understand it in my preparation for presenting the lesson. Yesterday, I had done 2 illustrations. I'm not sure. I think I showed this. Do I have another one? I don't think I have another one. No, this one is actually for the phases of the moon, which is the lesson I believe. You know what? That is not the lesson that follows, actually. Anyway, we'll figure it out. What I did was I added an extra white paper to this main lesson book so that I could add the other 2 seasons as full page written narration, rather than, I just knew I was going to run out of space, rather than taking it all the way to the next section. And there isn't a white page in the middle. I contemplated putting a white page in the middle, but I actually want this 2-page spread for, I intended it for the phases of the moon, but maybe I will do one of these other ones. We'll see. I'm not sure about that. The point is, I've added more pages to the main lesson book in order to get the written narration that we needed. The other point is that when there's an opportunity for you to plan and prepare a lesson for presentation versus planning and preparing a lesson to be read, my understanding of the material is deeper. My confidence in presenting the lesson is higher, and my enjoyment in presenting the lesson goes through the roof. Like, I get so excited about the material. Now, is this necessary? Like, I really don't think so. Like, I honestly don't think that there is a difference in the reception of the lesson, whether I'm reading it or presenting it. This is just my experience. I'm sure there probably is, but I'm not saying this for you to think like, oh, all these lessons that I've just read aloud versus presented, like it's not gone over well. Not at all. I honestly think that it's more about me and my enthusiasm with the lesson versus the reception of the student. Although, like, there could be data out there that suggests differently, but this is just my enjoyment at the moment of being able to do these lessons this way, which I had not had the time to do before. And this has just been an enjoyment. I'm not sure if it's because it's this particular main lesson block. I really love the astronomy main lesson block so much. I'm not sure if I would feel this way about other main lesson blocks. That remains to be seen. But in all the times that I have had the time to present the lessons, it has been a better experience. It's just after 10 a.m. We're going to start with some opening activities, and then my daughter's going to get right into her written work and her lessons, her independent lessons for the day, which are still the Johannes Kepler book and the Copernicus book. She's almost done. She almost doesn't have any more pages left in this particular main lesson book. So I will either staple in a few other pages or get her a new main lesson book. And I probably should have done that in the beginning, an entire main lesson book for each of these resources, but that's okay. I'll get her some more pages. And then the other written narration that she needs to do on her own is for the Galileo reading. And so she's been doing those on parchment papers and then reading them to me first and then sealing them with a little bit of wax. So that's something that she's going to work on in the morning. So I've already prepared lunch. I already cooked it this morning. It's already ready to go. People can graze on it throughout the day. I had lunch for breakfast, so I'm set for a while. And so hopefully we can work diligently for the next couple of hours and get a lot of our work done. I do have an obligation this evening, so I want to make sure that everything gets complete and we can get the house cleaned up for guests and dinner. So I want to be really mindful of how we're doing our lessons today. It's 10:15 a.m. We're playing Destination Mars. My daughter is so far ahead of me. I'm still kind of at the beginning. Let's see what my cards are. I need 2 more. We're done with one game for opening activities. It's about 10:20, 10:25. Let's go ahead and do our mental math. First question is 10% of 60. Next question, 210% of 60. 120 divided by 12 minus 2.5. 7.5. 12 times 9 plus 4.5. And mental math is all done in your head. So I'm reciting the questions. That's why the answers are right here. 112.5. Next question, 24% of 200. Sorry, 24% of 200 plus 2. 50. 45 divided by 9 plus 12. 60. Okay, mental math is done, fast and easy. We're going to do 2 more activities now before we take a break. And the one thing that we haven't done in a little bit is the planetarium book. We didn't do it yesterday. So let's read a couple of pages. We finally got through all of the planets, and we've done a couple of different resources. And what I found is that as we're going through resources that are going to cover some topics that we've already gone through, sometimes you get new information because, like, for instance, this book is a newer resource than the other book that I have on the planets. Several of the books that I have on the planets, these are a little bit older. And so sometimes we're getting maybe a bit of new information. This content is quite short, so sometimes there's some repetition. And there's a difference between repetition that's positive and then redundancy that makes it kind of boring. And so far with our resources, it's been okay. So we're going to talk about the dwarf planets and I think comets and asteroids. And I think we'll do like a couple more pages since this is a quick book to read through. I think we'll stop at the sun. So we'll just do like maybe 3 pages. Dwarf planets. Around and beyond the orbit. It's 11:15. We just finished planetarium. We're on to this astronomy resource. It's a book by Charles Kovacs. The chapters are quite short, but still really packed. And we are on chapter 30, The Tides. This resource is accompanying our main lesson block, but we are not doing any work from this book. We're just reading it, but it's become a really great preview to some of the lessons that we're actually doing with our live education Waldorf curriculum. So tides and other lunar influences. The moon moves faster through the zone. It's 11:30 a.m. We just finished reading our selection for astronomy. My daughter's going to take a break and have lunch. We're trying to make it a shorter lunch today so that we can resume our lessons since we need to end early today. But as food is done, it should be a breeze. I made Mexican food, some guacamole, ground beef, tortilla chips. So that's going to be good for the next about a half an hour. I think my daughter wants a little bit of a break. So we're going to aim to start back at around 12:15. It's 12:40 and we just played another opening activity. Same one, but now I think we have to do a tiebreaker. Next, we're going to do our Galileo for kids. This is the longest lesson that we have to do aside from the main lesson. We have another 10 pages to read. My daughter does need to do her written work from yesterday's lesson, and I don't like reading forward without doing written work, but we needed a new one of these these holders that go with this in order to melt the wax for the wax seal, because her written work is done on these scrolls or parchment, pretend parchment, and then she seals it. She reads it to me first and then she seals it. So she's got like a bunch of written narrations that she has done, but this piece broke on our kit, so I had to buy a new one, but the new one came with a bunch of new wax pellets, I suppose. And the wax that I had before was basically in these beautiful green colors. So this one has a whole assortment of colors, not very many of each one, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun sort of playing around with the different colors of wax that she can now use for the seals for this particular lesson. And then, so I think I might wait on reading that lesson. Instead, we might just start with our main lesson of the day. We're going to review the lesson that we did yesterday on the marine chronometer and latitude and longitude. And if we have time, we'll go into the tilt of the planet and the seasons. And I'm completely ready and prepared for that lesson. I'm really excited to share that on the seasons, very specifically on the Southern California seasons and what we experience in the chaparral, which is more rainwater than a desert, because we have, I believe, 11 inches of rainwater a year, but we're close. We're just right on that cusp of being considered a desert or not. So it's a very beautiful flora and fauna, and I really want to go into the different seasons of what you can expect, especially in Southern California, different from the seasons that you typically see in especially picture books where you see a lot of snow-capped mountains for winter. It's 1:55 p.m. We are done with all of the lessons except for one, and that is the Galileo for kids. At this point, my daughter has a lot of independent work to do. She has to do her writing for the Galileo from yesterday, from our Galileo reading yesterday. So she's going to write and add a wax seal to that. She needs to do her writing for Kepler, her reading for Kepler. So the writing is from yesterday's reading, and then she'll do the reading for today. For Copernicus, she has writing to do as well as the reading for today. And then we will finish off the school day with our new reading for Galileo for kids. And so I'm guessing that might be probably 4 p.m. by the time we get to our final lesson. And I think that's everything that we have to do for today. It's 4 p.m. and before we do our final lesson, I'm going through some of the books that we have been using for our opening activities. There are 2 books that I'm done with, or at least we're done reading as much as we're going to read from them, and that's Mystery of Mars. There were a few pages at the back of the book that I opted not to read. Just it wasn't really matching what we wanted to study, so that was fine. And then Planet Earth, I think there might have been one page at the back that we didn't read either. I'm going to put these away with the rest of our astronomy books, ones that we've used and finished or ones that we just haven't used. We've gone through all of the picture books that are quick reads, but there are a few nonfiction books here that I want to include as part of our opening activities. And what's ended up happening is that as we work through the day and we take breaks, we end up starting again with an opening activity. So now that my daughter is done doing all of her written work and her reading, and then her written work for the Galileo for Kids, the last lesson we're going to do is the reading for Galileo. But I do want to start out, since it's been a few hours, with one of these books, maybe just like a 10-minute read, 5-minute read of one of these books. So I'm going to let my daughter choose one of these books, and then that will be our opening activity for this last lesson of the day. We're going to do Far Away Worlds. Let's start. We've done this book before. It is enjoyable. We did it the last time we did our astronomy unit. It doesn't really match any of the content that we're doing, but it is enjoyable just to imagine what life could be like on other, or what the landscape could be like on other planets. Imagine a world far beyond our solar system. It's 4:15. We just finished reading a couple of pages of this book. It's such an intriguing book. It just fuels the imagination. At this time, our very last lesson, Galileo for Kids. Where is our... Oh, let me try to see what page we're on. We are on page 70. Yep, 70. So we're going to start at Return to Tuscany. We're supposed to read to page 80, but I think we're going to stop on page 79 right before this long passage on the search for longitude, which is perfect because today's main lesson for our astronomy main lesson block in this book was a review of latitude and longitude. So that was perfect. I love it when those kinds of things connect and they weren't planned. The one thing, I think I already mentioned it, is that we're not doing enough of any of our projects, even the one where we meant to check the tilt of planet Earth. Actually, it's fine that we didn't do it because we didn't actually do that lesson yet. But I want to do the one where we're using a flashlight in order to understand the seasons based on the tilt of the planet. But we will do that one maybe tomorrow. So let's begin with Return to Tuscany. Though he had been, as Galileo had described it, art and science had come together. It is about 4:45 p.m. We are finally done with the lessons for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday, and I'll see you Wednesday.